If your toddler is having a bottle both to sleep and to go back to sleep, and for their primary sort of milk or formula nutrition during the day, here's how to wean it. Quick tips. First, I always start by introducing a cup if you haven't already, and then transitioning the lunch bottle to a cup. So, a cup with milk or formula, or whatever you're giving. So, we sit in our toddler seat, we have our meal. Here's your milk cup. And then 1 or 2 days later, we do that at the dinner bottle. So, now we've gotten rid of 2 bottles. And remember that if they were to beg and plead for a bottle in between, we give them a snack and a cup with water and say, we're all done soon. We're going to be all done bottle. I'm a big proponent of talking to our kids about what we're doing. And then finally, we're going to get to the first morning when they wake up and start their day, and we're going to go right to breakfast. So right to the toddler, chair at the table. We have breakfast. They may be asking for a bottle because you're both used to it. Maybe you bring them into your bed and give them a bottle. But now we're going to start the day and go into the kitchen and make breakfast and sit at the table and have the cup with milk. Okay, so now we're starting to transition those associations, not just for sleep, but for how we take in milk and formula during the day. And then finally, we're going to be ready to address bedtime. So I would do all of this over the course of 7 to 10 days. Make sure, by the way, that you've checked in with your doctor about their eating intake over the last like 3 to 5 days before you get started, to make sure your child's eating well and growing well, of course, and that you get the green light to wean any feedings at night. Remember too to ask your doctor that if your toddler stops drinking milk when you transition them off a bottle, should you panic? Okay, usually they're going to say no because they're getting, calcium and vitamin D and some of the other nutrients that they need from milk in the rest of their food, and they'll be okay. I have seen some toddlers go for a few days, even a week, with like a milk strike, and then return to it. I have seen a very small amount of toddlers kind of never really take the amount of milk that they need, which is why it's so helpful to ask your pediatrician. So if my child is eating, cottage cheese or yogurt and cheese, do I need to worry about them not drinking any kind of milk, whether it's almond, rice, or cow's milk? So that we can feel like not panicked, right? Because remember, we get pretty attached to that bottle and being able to measure how much they're eating too. All right, now we are at the bedtime bottle. Okay, couple of ways we can do this. Usually I just recommend reducing the ounces. I don't recommend diluting the bottle because some toddlers are fine with drinking milk, watered down milk, which I personally wouldn't, but there's plenty of other toddlers who would. And so then you're not really solving the problem, because lots of times what they are using the bottle for is to suck into a drowsy state. So some are fine with just transitioning it to water or watered down milk. That's why I much prefer reducing the number of ounces at bedtime, which means that you will get to a point in the routine where it's not enough time for them to go to sleep on the bottle and they are awake. And that will be your big moment to put them into the crib and do the shuffle and coach them to sleep. Expect some protests because they're not going to understand why you're doing this. If you find, by the way, that when you reduce your 8-ounce bottle to a 6-ounce bottle, then a 4-ounce bottle, and even then they start to protest, well, then that's your sign that the very next night we go to a water cup with books and kisses and into bed, and you do the sleep coaching with the shuffle. In the middle of the night, you can do this. You can do one of 2 things. You can, well, I guess one of 3 things. One is you can say, if my toddler's having, 2 bottles during the night, or I'm throwing the bottle in there into the crib, which some parents do, I would just say reduce the ounces in each bottle each time you do that. Another option is saying, you know what, I'm just going to give them a bottle once a night, and the other nights we're going to coach them back to sleep. You could do that. I would only do that for 2 or 3 nights and then be done with it. And then that one bottle just keep reducing. That's kind of a gradual way. If your toddler is just taking little, sips throughout the night, then you might need to just cold turkey the bottle at night and give them a spill proof water cup during the night. Now, I know I went through a lot there. You can rewatch this video. You can read more about it in my book, and you can also hire one of my gentle sleep coaches to help you through this. But I promise you, it definitely works, and your toddler will be, be able to sleep without a bottle, and you'll be protecting their teeth from cavities.